Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to be talking about the QuickBooks mobile app. And in particular, we're going to be looking at the iPhone iOS app and the Android QuickBooks app. And we're going to see if there's any differences between the two. And in your particular circumstances, which one's right for you. So join me as we explore QuickBooks Online's mobile app and the differences between the two platforms. Stay tuned. Hello, my name is Patrick. I'm a chartered accountant, a certified UK trainer with fancy new logo, that QuickBooks chap on the internet, and also head of accounts here at Boffix. Now today is a day of great sadness because today is a day when we talk about how there has now been a difference between the QuickBooks mobile app on Apple iPhone and the Android version of QuickBooks as well. Now, if we did this a year ago, there was pretty much no differences whatsoever. In fact, in last year's recertification, we were actually celebrating the fact that both platforms were kind of unified. And it was actually really good because if you're training a client or if you had multiple people working for you in multiple elements, everyone was having the same experience, didn't matter what device they were picking up at the time. And QuickBooks was just working and it was just fine and it was wonderful. Unfortunately, at the moment, though, there is a bit of a divide, and that's what we're going to explore today. First of all, what the difference is, and then more importantly, I think for you, is to know when it is which is the right device for you and your circumstances. Now, let's concentrate first of all on the Apple iPhone experience. And with that, I'm going to grab my iPhone here, and we're going to go and we're going to show on screen. Okay, so let's get into our Apple iPhone. Now, on screen in front of me is your standard Apple iPhone. How do you get to your QuickBooks Online? It's dead straightforward. You can go to the App Store, press search, find QuickBooks. Make sure that you choose the QuickBooks Accounting, which has the green element on it, and press open. Now, clearly in this version of it, we've already gone through the sign-in page. I've put my credentials in, and it is important to note that actually it's really straightforward to get your credentials into QuickBooks Online, because as long as you can log into QuickBooks Online via your browser, then you'll have all that you need to be able to go in and get your own mobile app as well. There's no extra cost for it whatsoever, and it just gives you the advantage of going straight in. Now, one of the things to note about this at this point in time is how we're getting this information onto your computer. And actually that becomes more of an important step than you probably would think. Because I'm definitely in a position at the moment where it's really important for me about getting information off my phone and being able to display it on the computer. Now that's either going to be for training purposes or if I'm trying to explain to other staff members how to use the software. Huddled around a phone and trying to explain them is pretty tricky. Well, being able to display your phone on another device makes it really, really easy. We're going to explore it on the Android side later, but with the Apple side, it is really, really straightforward. And there's two ways in which you can get it done. First of all, if you use QuickTime itself, you can just go and connect to the source. That's straightforward, really easy. But also nowadays, if I was just to pull this down here, and you'll notice I have this option here for screen mirroring. Well, if I've got another Apple device, I can actually screen directly there. So there's my MacBook Pro sat there. I've also got my Apple TVs throughout the house. And it makes it really easy for me to display the product over to there. Now, Android do have a similar idea of that, but it is very much a case that with Apple, if you are in the Apple ecosystem, it's actually really, really straightforward and really refreshing of how easy it can be. That does lend the whole idea that if you're already in the Apple ecosystem, then an Apple device does make the most sense because it is just going to simply work. And these days, a lot of people have actually just gone and got themselves a second-hand, older Apple device if they've already got a Mac or equivalent, because it just makes things so much easier. One of the considerations you've got to make between if it's right to go from the Apple iPhone or the Android equivalent, then normally it's down to what ecosystem you're normally in. But let's have a look at the app itself and see what actually. So first of all, on the app, you'll notice that if I go down here, I have the option for cash flow. Now, cash flow has been promised to be coming to Android for some time, but currently isn't available. And it's been a long time coming for that to come along. So I don't know what the reasons are, but at the moment, you don't have cash flow as an option within your Android option. And that could be make or break for you in terms of deciding what's better for you. Are you really interested in that cash flow? Can you see the benefits of being able to jump in and see what's going on within the cash flow forecast? Or are you simply not that fussed about it? Another key change is with the mileage section and the way it tracks. Auto tracking on the iPhone is a little bit more restrictive, I'm going to be honest with you. And it is a case that you may have to make sure those permissions are always on, and you have to be a little finicky with that, with all security updates and everything else. But once it works, it does work relatively well. And as you can see, it's been tracking my recent trip to London, no problem whatsoever. And then the major change between the Apple iPhone versus Android is the way that you can share invoices. So if I jump into the invoice page just here, jump into an invoice that's there, I can then preview and send this invoice. And from there, I can use the normal email option that we have in both Android and iOS, but I also have the share via button. And from a share via button, I have any options I want. I can use any third party I need. I can WhatsApp, I can Facebook message, I can do anything I want to get that invoice to the relevant place I need to get it to. I think that's a really, really key feature, and definitely from our clients is something that has actually made the difference for them and made them choose between going iOS or going Android. Now let's switch over to the Android option. Now the way I'm sharing screens and projecting the screens here means all I do, I grab the device, I plug in through here, and you'll be able to see then it projects the screen like it has done there. Now that's great, and that means that I can do, for me, doesn't matter what device I'm using, Android, Apple, doesn't matter what it is, I can show my screen up here. I can go through it using my finger to go through and move it. But one of the advantages you do have with Android though, is with certain devices like this one, which is the Surface Duo, is a really special feature. So just watch this one. Now for this one, what I'm doing is I'm actually connecting to a Windows device. And now if I can see on my Windows device I have here, has this fancy tool called My Phone Link. And with My Phone Link, what that gives me a chance to do is I can read my messages, look at my photos, look at my apps, look at my calls, make calls from here. I can see the apps installed and click into them if I need to, which is really, really handy. But also, what I find the most powerful element of all of this is I can actually run my phone directly from here. So my phone's just sat over there. I'm not going to touch it now. It's going to leave it there for whenever I need it. And what I can do now is I can go in and actually connect to my phone using this button here. Make this nice and big. And I can see now I'm controlling my phone, but I'm controlling it via my computer. And actually, as a training point of view, this is amazing. This is definitely a feature we don't get if we're going to be trying to do iOS to Mac or iOS to Windows or anything like that. The only way you can achieve this combination is having one of the more up-to-date phones. So again, in this case, the Surface Duo. I think some of the Samsung ones at the moment do it as well. Connect into your PC. And at this point, I'm on Windows 10, and I know Windows 11 does the same as well. And then I can control the phone. Now it's weird though, and this is one of the quirks of QuickBooks on the Android, is that when I click into QuickBooks for Android, I am going to get an error message popping up. And you'll see this error message now is the fact that it's completely black. If I go into this screen here, the reason for that, and I show you the screen there, is I've got to go to my menu button. From my menu button, I've got to go into all. I've then got to go into settings. And I need to then say that I'm happy to enable screenshots, but you only get 15 minutes of that option. Now I've enabled screenshots though, and I go back into my computer and I have a look. And actually I'm going to just close that down and click on QuickBooks again. In theory, now that I've enabled screenshots, notice I can now use it directly from here. So from here then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click into the, and again, I'm controlling this directly from my computer. This is where the advantage of this element goes. I can then jump into my Today button and I can see some of the differences. Now I feel like this is a bit of an error, a bit of an issue here, or a bit of a bug. But one of the extra things you have on Android is this option here to take pay. And if I click into it, it's starting to talk about the opportunity to add the QuickBooks Puck, which currently is only available in America. But the fact it's here on my on my Android phone gives me hope, or gives me opportunity to think that it might be coming to the UK. Now, in the UK, we have got the Zettel connection, so the idea of it actually coming is probably a little bit premature, but it's nice to see that that's an option for us to come in. Now, the big difference here, though, is, like I said, we don't have our cash flow down the bottom here. Doesn't matter where I go, what settings I go into, I can't find a cash flow whatsoever. And also, unfortunately, if I go to send an invoice, the only options I have is email or print. If I go to email, it's just going to take me to the email option. I don't get anything else from there. And if I went to preview, which is a bit like what I had on my iOS device, then it's just going to open it up in a app, and then I suppose I could forward it that way, but it's not as intuitive as it was before. In fact, I don't even get to see the invoice on here by the looks of it. I don't know if I'm just not clicking the right button or not on this app, but it's not giving me that option to actually see the invoice before it's sent. It's just showing me effectively what it looks like from there. Other subtle differences, I do have the option at the top here to be able to switch companies, so that's something that could be quite useful. And randomly on this page here, I get more options in here. So I do have access to get to them, but I can see profit and loss, balance sheet, and mileage in this top area, whereas in the iOS option, they're in more different categories. So as I scroll down here, there's a bit of a difference between the two options there. Now, as I go through these options and I look compared to the iPhone versus the Android one, the options do seem to be exactly the same. It's just, for whatever reason, and I don't quite understand why, they're just put in different areas. And different terminology as well, like this is money in here, it's sales on the other one. This is money in on the Android version, where it's sales on the iOS, money out where it's expense. I'm not 100% sure why there is all these adjustments there. Feedback, on the Android it's called feedback, whereas on the iPhone it's called request feature. Quick actions are the same, apart from the fact of that take pay option that we don't get on iOS. But everything else seems to be relatively similar. Snap receipt feature on both of them, pretty similar. But I must admit, I get the same options at the top, extracting that data. But on the iOS version, you do get some more prompts. So it's prompting you to fill this in and fill that in, use that photo, and upload it from there. Now, the difference between the image you're capturing could be device specific, and you may find that different Android devices may have different functionality in terms of how they take photos and everything else. So that may well be the reason why there are issues between there. But ultimately, between the two of them, there's not that much in it. There is subtle differences. The cash flow for me is a biggie. The ability to share is another biggie. So I think that for people who just want functionality over form, then really the iPhone for me is the one that's going to, and the iOS proportion of it at the moment is the stronger, is the outrunner. Whereas on the Android side of things, there is that whole issue where having to accept screen recordings, things like that, can be a bit annoying. When all you really want to do is just show the screen, and not having cash flow and everything else does make me kind of feel like the app is a little bit different. And the fact that the terminology is different between the apps as well, it's just weird. I just don't see why that's an option or why that's a problem, and why they're not unified in that way. Because again, if I'm training, then I've really got to remember that there's going to be differences between the iOS and the Android. Subtle, yes, but the differences are something that needs to be addressed. And none of these things we're saying now are stuff that is limited because of the hardware or the software. Like, for example, if on the iOS device it was actually asking me for a feature that was only available in iOS devices, then I completely get it. I'm not expecting that to be replicated on the Android side. But if it's not hardware specific and there's a reason why it's not there, I just don't know why this needs to have differences compared to iOS. Now, I have tried another Android device as well, a Google Pixel, and that seems to have exactly the same issues as this one. So I don't think it's just down to this. I think it is a case of there seems to be some oddity going on. So the question, which one's right for you? Well, for me, majority of the time I'm opting or telling people just for ease of use is just to use the iPhone iOS device, because it seems to be the device that gets the features first. It seems to be the device that is being updated on a more regular basis, and you get that wonderful option of being able to quickly be able to connect it to a Mac device if you're running Mac. If you're trying to show this screen on a PC, there are software out there that can do it. Again, put comments below if you wanted me to go through those in any particular way. But your best option is to invest in some hardware, additional hardware to do that for you. See, for me, using any piece of software to be able to showcase it, even as fancy as the My phone connector, we just stopped halfway through this presentation. I think that if you're doing it on a regular basis and you're constantly showing the screen, then getting yourself some form of hardware is going to be really useful. The Elgato HD60 is my main driver, but equally as powerful and actually much more portable is just the Elgato Camlink here. Either of those ones, the idea is that you're going to take the information from the device and you're going to plug it in. So I just use Lightning to HDMI to achieve that. Or on the other device, it's just a HDMI to USB-C and plugged in. And that way I can interchange and put whatever information I need to at any point in time. And actually for me, that's the secret sauce. That's the key element to it for me. But functionality of just being able to see your phone and interact with your phone while sat on a computer is actually really, really useful. And the only reason I even hold the Android device is for this channel, is to see the difference between Android and iPhone, and also when I'm training as well. If I know that the person has an Android device, I would use the Android device so they can see exactly what's the same functionality they've got. But that technology of being able to control the device from there makes training so good. If you need to train anybody in your organization for how to use the mobile app, so how to submit expenses or how to utilize the QuickBooks app in any way, then actually having that functionality and be able to click and be able, while you're on Zoom or Teams or whatever it's going to be, for me is an absolute game changer. So that's the kind of one time when this actually becomes the go-to device for me. But what about you? What do you think? Is there anything I've missed between the two different solutions? The other consideration is how it looks on iPad versus how it looks on the phone. So let me know below if that's something that you want me to look at. I've also got an Android tablet device as well, so we can compare Android tablet QuickBooks Online versus the iOS tablet QuickBooks Online, because both of them do bring in a little bit extra in terms of features and everything else. And also on the iPad side of things, definitely you get the extra functionality of being able to go into the full version of QuickBooks Online. We did a video on that a couple of years back, but it's been really useful to see how people can jump in and be able to actually have experience best of both worlds. They can have that mobile app for quick and easy way of uploading, get things done, get things quick and easy. But if they do need the full version of QuickBooks, well, straight into the browser and they're off to the races. My name's been Aaron Patrick. Let me know below if there's anything else you like to talk about when it comes to the mobile app. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, share and all that sort of stuff. We have got some really good little insights coming further down the line. And also I know of some big enhancements that's coming to the mobile app and you don't want to miss those. So make sure you're subscribed, make sure you pass it on to other people and they can make sure they can see it as well. My name's been Aaron Patrick. As I said, I have had an absolute blast doing this one. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for supporting this channel and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now. I told him I can be a fighter if you want. I'll be there to catch you if you fall. I can make it brighter when it's dark, when it's dark. I told him I would do it all for you, and I know you do it for me too. I can be a fighter if you want, if you want. I can be a fighter. I can be a fighter if you want. I can be a fighter if you want. All the way that I feel, yeah, I know that it's real, cause I can get him out of my head. I don't care what we do, everything's feeling new. Even if we stay in bed, my heart is saying yeah, 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 yeah. You know I want him, nah, 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 nah. My heart is saying yeah, 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 yeah. Hello and thank you for watching that video. What you may not know is this channel that you've watched this video from is part of a wider group. That wider group is called Apple Core Production, and the 3 channels that we have involved are as follows: Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks Chat, Boffick's Tax Tip. Finally, we have Apple Core Live and Geeky. All the links and everything are down below in the description, but it really means a lot to us if you can go and give a like to the other channels as well.